Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the American Aberdeen Association Pen Show, Market Steer Show, followed by the Bull Show. And I believe we'll, Neil, if you're ready with that first pen of heifers, bring them on in. We'll do some introductions later. In the show ring right now is Class 231. To start off our pen show is percentage heifers calved after January 1st, 2018. And entering the ring following them is Class 232. These heifers are calved on or after September 1st, 2017.
All right, let's welcome everybody to our American Aberdeen show. This morning we're starting out with our Penn Heifer show. I truly like the Penn cattle, and it's good to see a lot of these cattle out when we're kicking them out and running around. And also, one of the things I try to reiterate a lot of times to young people when they're showing some of the livestock is just how much even cattle can change from one day to the other, how they feel in the morning, what they've eaten, or how they're feeling, especially the young man's pen over here that's over to our right. He's got 2 Aprils and 1 May. So from a uniformity standpoint, the body type is pretty close the same. They just have a little difference of size because the 1 May heifer. But the red heifer in that pen looks completely different today than she did yesterday. She's just fuller. She's dropped down. She's kind of pulled apart more. That one has made a humongous change from when I saw her yesterday in the show back to today, and it shows you there. That's a very, very nice pen. They're extremely long-sided. They're nice and full today. They are good in their top line. They're structurally correct. An outstanding pen. The pen to the next, the older pen there, the Septembers, they're a little more indicative of exactly what I think where you're going as a pen because they're the same body type, the same size, same height, the same kind of look. There's some subtle differences there. I even told him that one of the heifers we saw in the show yesterday, I liked her okay. But she really wasn't. She didn't look that great on the halter, and now out here loose, she looks tremendous. She's fuller today. She holds her top together better. She's moving. She's not fighting along with a halter. She looks really good out here as well. The pen to our left is going to be our champion pen today, so let's give them a nice round of applause on that set of all black heifers. And the young man from North Dakota here is going to be our reserve champion. Let's thank both these exhibitors for all the amount of effort and time and work it takes to get these cattle here presented for you.
Your grand champion percentage pen of heifers is class 232, belongs to Tillman's Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri, and your reserve champion purebred percentage pen of heifers is going to class 231, owned by the Efforts EZ Ranch, Bismarck, North Dakota. as the pens of heifers are exiting the show ring, and we'll get it ready for our market steer show. Again, I'd like to welcome Joel Judge. Welcome him back today to sort through these cattle. Joel owns Advanced Beef Solutions with his brother Jason, and they specialize in marketing commercial range bulls, commercial females, and feeder cattle. They also have a consulting side of the business that focuses on ranchers' needs and goals. And Joel and his wife Courtney and children Ashley, Jessica, Wyatt, and Weston also own some Angus cattle, and they are heavily involved in quarter horses used in the cow horse and the cutting horse industry. Joel's two daughters, Ashley and Jessica, are the only siblings to ever win the high individual at the National Champion Senior College Livestock Judging Contest, and I know that Joel is very, very proud of that and proud of his kids. So if we could welcome Joel back again today and give him a round of applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is more than just a steer show. It's a market steer show, and these cattle are being evaluated both live, and they've also been evaluated by ultrasound, and our carcass placings will be based on their ultrasound data. So Judge will place them on their visual appearance, and then the ultrasound data will be used for the carcass awards, and our sponsors have generously donated some very nice funding for these young men and young women, and trying to get everybody in this business, both the youth and the adults, to focus that these cattle need to be evaluated for their end product value. The carcass information on these cattle, the ultrasound information, was tremendous. These steers all have between 15 and a half and 16 and a half inch ribeyes, and very high ribeye area per hundredweight. So lots of natural muscle in these steers, and we'll announce the carcass winners and those carcass characteristics after the judge places these steers.
And as Neil said, there's some money involved for these kids doing this, and it's a great program for them. At this time, we have two gold sponsors. I'd like to thank them: Larry Watkins and the Flying J&L Ranch in Groesbeck, Texas, and Janice Black and 2J Livestock from Casper, Wyoming. And we had some silver sponsors. Justin Seacrest from Sunset Hill and in Stillwater, Oklahoma, and then Bill and Garrett Clark, the Old Angus Ranch and Rising Sun Ranch from Oklahoma, and then Neil and Jan Efforts from the Efforts Easy Ranch in Bismarck, North Dakota. So if we could give those sponsors a round of applause. They've given these kids some money to make this program work.
We have a couple half-blood steers in the steer show, and then we have one three-quarter blood steer. And I think you can kind of tell by looking. The smaller frame gray steer at this end is actually about a three-quarter blood, and the other two are half-bloods.
All right, let's put our hands together for our three steers here in our Market Steer Show. Outstanding. That's okay. Y'all can clap. There you go. There we go. Good job. All right. Outstanding set of steers. You know, and I think for me, I always try to evaluate cattle, especially on the handle and the feel. I know that sometimes we can get away with that, and we will get away with that with just using ones that we have just the look that we like, but I still try to go and get your hands on them. I think that's the best estimation that we have without using ultrasound. And we talked about, I love it, the pressure's on when you start saying, okay, we scan these. We know what kind of ribeye they've got in them. We know what their fat thickness is, and we kind of know what carcass quality is going to be on these as well. For me, the best combination calf is this black steer. He's the best in his front end. He's the best design. He's the best out of his top. He's square hip. And he's really the one that when you put your hands on him, he probably, for me, meets you with the most amount of ribeye and the biggest loin and the biggest top one as you go down there. And I think he's the most correct in his degree of condition. He's probably about 45 hundredths right there, somewhere in that half an inch of back fat, somewhere close to that. I think he's fat enough. I think he's been fed hard enough and long enough. He's going to be one that would be a great candidate to be in the low to mid-choice category as you study him. And yet he gets out here, he gives you a good look, and he's probably a little sounder and handles those rear two, probably a little better than maybe the steer that comes there in second. The steer that comes in second, he's beautiful in his type and his kind. He's got that great market steer look. He's soft-made. He handles with a correct degree of condition. He maybe isn't quite as fat or maybe not as smooth between his 12th and 13th rib when you get your hands on him and feel that cover and condition compared to our class winner. He handles with a nice big shape in his top. His top has got some tremendous muscle shape to him. He's maybe not as wide to his pins, but I think there's a lot of product in that calf. He handles very fresh to the touch, maybe by having just a little more even. And sometimes they get a little bit more opened up between their rib and a 12th and 13th rib, but he still has plenty of condition. He's been fed right and hard, and I think he still gets out here and gives you a great look. He gets outside of his skeleton just a little bit more, a little bit wider, how he has to travel off those rear two. Maybe we change him with that. The young man with the big gold steer, that one is about as good looking a steer as you can get out here in this bunch. He's long-necked. He's really got a nice shape in his top. He doesn't probably have quite enough condition. For me, I'd like to see that steer fatter in relationship to his frame and his weight, but he still handles enough condition to him. I'd say he's market ready. A calf for as you get your hands on him, when you're putting your hands right down his top and handling down his loin, I don't know if he handles with quite as much shape into his loin edge comparatively to the two other steers here, but one that's super sound and gives you a great look. So let's give them a nice round of applause, and that's the way I see them here today for our champion steers.
So our champion live steer goes to J.C. Schoenfeld, and coincidentally, we must have a very great judge because she's also the grand champion carcass steer. So let me give you the carcass information on this. If I can get it pulled up on my phone here. Okay, that steer weighed 1,210 pounds. He had a 16.27 ribeye area. His fat thickness was 0.51. His ribeye area per hundredweight was 1.34. He had a ribeye shape of 0.55, which is anything up close to 0.5 is a great ribeye shape. He had a IMF of 4.26, an estimated hot carcass weight of 756 pounds. His yield grade was estimated to be 1.94, and he graded choice. So he is the number one ranking steer in terms of carcass value. Your reserve, so here's a check for JC for the Grand Champion carcass steer. And the reserve champion carcass steer is actually our third place steer. Duncan Heifer steer weighed 1,345 pounds, had a 16.83 ribeye area, had a fat thickness of 0.23, so quite a bit leaner, had a ribeye area per hundredweight of 1.25, a ribeye shape of 0.46, percent IMF 3.65, which gave him a yield grade of 1.38 and a grade of Select Plus. The third place carcass steer was the gray steer that weighed 1,200 pounds, had a 15.54 ribeye area, a 0.34 fat thickness, a ribeye area per hundredweight of 1.30 with a ribeye shape of 0.51 and a yield grade of 1.72 and a Select Plus quality grade. So that's the carcass results. Give these kids a great round of applause. And again, thank the sponsors for this great event.
Again, Neil has spent a lot of time on putting this deal together, and we going forward would sure like to see some more participation. And again, like to thank Larry Watkins from the Flying J&L Ranch, Janice Black from 2J Livestock, Justin Seacrest from Sunset Hill, and Bill and Garrett Clark from the Old Angus Ranch and the Rising Sun Ranch, and Neil and Jan Efforts for their sponsorship in this program. It's just a great learning opportunity for these young adults, and a little reward for them, little extra reward for them at the end. So if we could give them another round of applause, and then we'll break till 9:30 for our bull show. As we wait to get started here with our moderator bull show, I would sure like to thank everybody that has helped here in the ring. Alan Cowan in the ring, and Jan and Derek and Marcus and everybody else that has helped get these cattle lined up to make these shows run smoothly. Let's give all those people a round of applause, and we'll start our moderator bull show off with Class 202. Taylor says I forgot her, so Taylor's here too. Your queen for the year is here. As Class 202 is in the ring, this is your summer bull calves. They're calved in May 2018. There's just one class of these, so this will be your division break also.
This is a great class of bulls and a really tough class of bulls for me. The bull that we're starting with is just the kind, big, stout breeding bull, soft made, big rib, great in his forerib, still has some length out of his neck. He's bold. He still has a masculine look to him. He's got some width in his pins. He's big-legged and big bone. He just gets a little bit tighter right off his pasture when you get him in motion out there. Just the kind of bull you say, okay, we could sell hundreds and hundreds of bulls that look just like this, big and powerful in their shape. And then you kind of fall in line with the young lady comes next. That bull really is the same type and kind. He gets a little more jammed up in his shoulder and his neck, but he's got enough shape to him. He gets just a little more set in his hock as he goes. And if I change him in his pin set, I change him right there, good in his forerib. This bull that comes next, I sat and looked, and I think he's high quality. He's one that's either first or third. He's either all the way to the top or you're going to change him in his type. Now, he's the kind of bull that I would easily use to clean up on some of my show heifers and some of our other show cattle there because he's got that super extended look. He's got some growth to him. He's tremendous in his shape and his hip. He maybe doesn't have quite as much as stifle, but he's just a May calf. Ultra sound. Gives you a great look. If he had a little more turn to his belly right there, maybe I like him a little differently, but he's just a different kind. That one has got tremendously good shape and good look. He's just a different kind of bull. So he either wins this whole thing, and that's where you're going, or you're going to put him back down and keep them other two bulls together. Let's give him a nice round of applause for 3 outstanding calves.
Your champion summer bull calf goes to DCS for Evermore 4F, owned by Deep Creek Seed Stock, Mitchell, Nebraska. And your reserve goes to LEX Firebrand 7F, owned by Clausen Corral, Elizabeth, Colorado. Third in the class was TCS Stockman 4C 25F, owned by the Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. In the ring now is Class 203 late spring bull calves, calved in April of 2018.
Real nice set of bulls here in our next class. The calf that wins this, I think he's the correct size for his age. He's green in his condition. I think he's a little sounder made, and he handles his pasterns better from his hock to the ground. And I think when you get on him, that one is really truer in his muscle shape as he comes from his loin into his hip. He's wide at his pins, or he's wide at his hooks. He's wide at his pins. He's soft-centered and soft-made. She gives you a great look out here. I really appreciate it. I told her I appreciate you being able to show that calf so I can see him out here. Gives me a great look on the side profile, a nice bull calf to kind of start our class. He's a little bolder in his shoulder shape. He's just a little bolder in his shoulder shape. Young lady comes next. This is the one that looks wicked good on the stop right there. He is fit to the T. I told her whoever is super jockking back there for you, they are getting those things dialed in because that one is fit exceptionally well. I wish he could handle his feet better, especially when he really starts to get out there and travel. It looks like he wants to get up in his pasterns. He just can't handle his rear two very comfortably. He needs to be able to sit back and hold that pastern just a little better. He's very uniform in his body depth. He comes out his forerib nice. He's soft enough through the center portion of his top body, and he's got enough top shape and meat and muscle, especially over his loin and to his hip. Gives you a great look coming out of his shoulder. Needs to be a little bit more flexible on the go. The calf that I thought for sure to win this is going to be the young lady coming next. He's that big, bold rib, big-bodied, masculine made. He's sound and flexible, get him on the go. He just gets a little bit tighter right behind his shoulder. He gets a little bit narrower right through the center portion of his top line. He's green in his condition. He gets us a little upright on his left pastern when you get him on the move. But, boy, he is big-bodied. He gives you that great look. He's going to be powerful. He's long and extended. Just needs a little more shape to him. Here's the one you cannot deny. This one is tremendous performance. He has blown everybody away in terms of WDA and pounds today. Big-backed. He is big-topped and big in the center portion of his loin. For me, he's a little too straight when you get him off those rear two from his hock to the ground and how he handles those pasterns. He needs to be more flexible, sit down more correctly. Being straighter, he has to kind of get in his hock just to handle his movement. Same with the young lady coming next. This one's tremendous performance. He needs to be a little more comfortable off his rear two as well, sitting down more comfortably from his hock to the ground. He has to get in just a little bit on those back wheels. But he's dead level topped. He's big topped and big ended. Tremendous performance and growth. The next two bulls coming, I think they're deep sided. They give you a good look. They just need to be better on their back legs for me, especially when you get them out here in motion, how they handle their hock, how they stay square and true. They need to get down and set better in their pasterns when you get them on the move. But they're big ribbed. They're deep bodied. I think they've got big future ahead of them. Sometimes when you get here and you're on concrete for a long time, a lot of these cattle really need to get out and exercise quite a bit to keep themselves loosened up and limbered up. Let's give them a nice round of applause for a nice set of bulls. We're good. Excuse from the ring.
First place in Class 203 goes to MRG Felix, owned by the Siegel Sunset Ranch, Cadott, Wisconsin. Second goes to SAG Ferdinand, owned by G Squared Livestock, Callan, Colorado. Third goes to MRG Finn, owned by the Siegel Sunset Ranch. Fourth goes to Easy Gold Rush, 1114F, owned by the Efforts EZ Ranch. Fifth goes to Pinehurst Blackjack, owned by Pinehurst Farm, Wellsburg, Iowa. Sixth goes to AMB Sexy Beast, owned by Alex Bishop, Rudy, Arkansas. And seventh goes to THL Adrenaline Rush, 15F, owned by Cisco Lewis from Parker, Colorado. In the ring right now, we have Class 204 Spring Bull Calves, calved in March of 2018.
This is a very intriguing class, and I like all three bulls in this class, and they're all three very different. And they all three have different pieces that I like, and try my best to explain them how I see them out here. The bull that wins this class, I think, is the squarest and truest and most flexible on the go. He's the most correct in his front shoulder angle. He's the most correct on his front two. They're both going the right direction. He gets out there, hits his track, hits his stride. He might be a notch lighter boned comparatively to the other two calves here, but he's really big topped, and he holds his top together exceptionally well. Comes out of his shoulders all the way to his hip. He's big hip, big pin, and gives you a great balanced look. The bull that gives you a little bit more of that masculine look comes out here in second. I think he has more true shape in his top from the center portion of his back right in through his loin. He's a little bit rounder made. He's a little bolder at the base of his shoulder. He gets a little straighter in his front shoulder angle as he kind of gets out there because he has to shorten up a little bit on the move. He gets outside of himself just a little bit more off those rear two. You get up on his front, he has to kind of twist out a little bit more up front, especially off his left front. If I could change that about him, I love his forerib shape and I love his center body dimension. The most intriguing bull in the class for me is the one that comes here in third. This one, depending on where you're judging and probably depending on another month or two, he could be first or he could be third. He's got a great look. Right now he's just kind of awkward in an awkward stage because he wants to get up in his loin when he gets into line, and he wants to get down his pins, kind of like he is right now. And then that makes him kind of soften up right behind his shoulder. But he's so extremely long spine, and he's so easy and flexible on the go. He's green. He's kind of in an awkward stage, so it gets him a little bit tighter right behind his shoulder. But that one right there, I think, as you look at him, maybe you see him in 6 months, maybe see him in another year. He could be the true superstar of those three right there as he continues to develop and mature. Let's give them a nice round of applause. Three really outstanding bull calves.
First in Class 204 goes to TCS Jacks High 14F, owned by the Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. Second goes to LEX Flyboy 3F, owned by Clausen Corral, Elizabeth, Colorado. And third goes to Pinehurst Hoss, owned by Pinehurst Farms, Wellsburg, Iowa. Just a single entry in Class 205.
Just a single entry bull here in our next class, one that's really level made, beautifully balanced. He gets out and he's got some flexibility. He's got some length and extension. He's got some muscle shape to him as well. Sure look forward to seeing him back in our champion line. Let's give this young lady a nice round of applause as we send her out of the ring.
In Class 205 was TCS Bubba 1D2F, owned by Tummins Cattle Company and the Rash Family Cattle from Excelsior Springs, Missouri. Next, we will be selecting our champion in reserve, Junior Bull Calf.
All right, let's put our hands together for our exhibitors and breeders here today. Once again, same as we went through yesterday, 3 nice class winners, and we have a couple second-place individuals out there. I'll go select what I think is our champion. I think this one I'm going to use is probably just the most correct, the most fault-free in this division. I think probably puts the most good things together. Once again, let's give them a nice round of applause for outstanding set of bulls here.
Your champion junior bull calf is TCS Jacks HI 14F, owned by the Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. And your reserve goes to MRG Felix, owned by the Siegel Sunset Ranch in Cadott, Wisconsin. Next class that will be coming into the ring is Class 206, winter bull calves, calved in November and December of 2017.
Just a single entry calf here, the blaze face calf. Once again, this young lady, their crew's getting them dialed in just about as good as you can make one as far as getting them fit. He's sound and flexible. He's really intriguing because he's so incredibly long-spined and long-bodied, and yet he's so very flexible out here on the go. He becomes a little bit of an optical illusion. He still has plenty of belly and body shape to him. Nice made in his shoulder. A really nice calf here to be a class winner. Look forward to seeing her right back here in for our senior calf champion. Let's give her a nice round of applause for an outstanding bull.
In Class 206 was RCC Jack E001, owned by G Squared Livestock, Callan, Colorado. Next in the ring will be Class 207, bull calves, calved September 1st through October 31st, 2017.
Single entry here, and we have the Great White Buffalo. That's correct. That's his name. Yes, I mean, he's intriguing. You look at him and say, that's just a chunk of meat right there. That is just a chunk of meat. Okay? He's the kind that will cut your legs out from right from underneath it because of the low center of gravity right there. He is sound. He's flexible. He's big boned. He's a combination of Belgian white and miniature Hereford and Aberdeen. He's got a nice color to him. He's got great pigmentation. Young lady's done a nice job. He's big rib. Sure look forward to seeing him back out in our champion line. Let's give her a nice round of applause for a nice calf.
The Great White Buffalo is owned by Keegan Robinson from Roundup, Montana.
Two very different kind of bulls out here for a selection of our senior calf champion. I think I appreciate things about both these bulls out here and what they can do. And I think that's the biggest thing that when I'm going looking at them and we come back and look at some of these others, it kind of really depends on where you're going to use them and how you're going to use them in that. That's the thing that we seem to forget about all the animal breeding and really being good cattle breeders is that you really need to understand where you're at and where you're trying to go, and that's the kind of genetics you're going to use in that spot. Because the calf from the very first class, if I was buying one from my own show cattle, that would have been the calf I bought. He would have been third place. That's where I know I would use him and how I'd use that calf. Some of these others come back out here. So I'm going to go out and show you and congratulate our champion. We'll have both of our champion and reserve out here. Let's give both these ladies a nice round of applause for an outstanding set of calves.
Your champion senior bull calf is RCC Jack E001, owned by G Squared Livestock, Callan, Colorado. And your reserve is the Great White Buffalo, owned by Keegan Robinson, Roundup, Montana. Next in the ring will be Class 209 Spring Yearling Bulls, and they will be calved March 1st through April 30th, 2017.
Single entry bull comes out here extremely long spined. I like his balance and his shape, and he's big footed, and his feet are going the right direction. He's really big and powerful in his hip shape and powerful down through his stifle. Gives you a great look from the side. Look forward to seeing this one back here, selection of our senior or junior yearling champion. Let's give this young lady a nice round of applause. We go ahead and send her out of the ring.
In Class 209, we had TCS Jacks Euro 8E, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. Next in the ring will be Class 210 Junior Yearling Bulls, and they will be calved January 1st through February 28th, 2017.
Nice set of big bulls here. The bull that wins this class is very, very fresh in his condition. He's the longest spine, levelest hip, and he's the soundest by far getting out here as he flexes around the ring. I like that about him. He's extended from his shoulder forward. He looks like he really loves showing out here today, and the young man looks like he's enjoying himself thoroughly out here showing this bull. So it's a little bit harder to get a great look, but he gets out there and gets a head up and extended. He's good in his foot size, and he's really sound and flexible on the go, and I like that. You know, the one that I just call this was just a meat ball bull. He is massive. I told her, I said, it looks like he ate a round bale because he is so big in his body shape and dimension. I love that about him. He's very moderate. He just gets so underneath himself on his set to his hind leg when he gets in motion. If I could just straighten him up and strengthen him up from his hock to the ground. Not that you've ever seen one go unsound, but as he kind of carries that with his weight, he gets a little bit rounder in his hip shape. I love him. Other than that, I love his forerib shape. That's just my kind of bull, big and stout and powerful and soggy made. Sure just need to change him, and how he has to kind of handle himself off those rear two. But one, you sure appreciate the amount of power and body shape. Young man comes third here, just a nice balanced bull. He just gives up a lot of muscle shape and bone size and skeletal power to the two bulls ahead of him here. We just like to pull that bull apart in his pins, widen him up quite a bit more in his top line for us to get him up any higher in this group. Let's give them a nice round of applause. We'll see him back here in our champion lineup.
First in Class 210 is WDL Vortex 113E, owned by W Diamond Livestock, Roswell, New Mexico. Second was Bar and Rancher E625, owned by Trinity Cattle Ranch from Castle Rock, Colorado, and also Clawson Corral from Elizabeth, Colorado. Third in that class was Gilbert Eiffel 7522E, owned by Gilbert Aberdeen Angus, Hermantown, Minnesota.
As we get down to the end of our Aberdeen Percentage Bull show, let's put our hands together. Two really nice individuals here. I'm going to go show you which one I like for our champion of the senior division, I guess, and which one we like for our reserve.
Your champion, junior champion bull is TCS Jacks Euro 8E, owned by Tummins Cattle Company. Reserve goes to WDL Vortex 111E, owned by W Diamond Livestock Company, Roswell, New Mexico.
All right, let's put our hands together out here for an outstanding set of bulls of our exhibitors and breeders. You know, and for those that maybe never judge or go as you're going along, you're just kind of chugging along here, and you're thinking, okay, this is what I like, and here's when they get back, and here's what I think they're going to look when they get back out here. And then they get back out here and say, okay, here's what I like, and you get up and you can really overanalyze them up, getting really close up on them. And a lot of times when we used to teach a lot of kids, even when my kids were young judging, sometimes you just got to get way back off and just turn around and see the big picture. When you get back around and see the big picture, sometimes it gets really clear and really easy. I think there's 4 outstanding bulls. They all have their own differences. They have their own advantages over each other, whether it's muscle, whether it's soundness, or body shape as they go along. I think we have our reserves over there and know what's coming in for our reserves. I think 2 that probably fit just the kind for me today, kind of what I like to select and where I've been going, what I like in terms of soundness and structural integrity as we go. Let's put our hands together one more time. I'll show you our champion. We'll allow our reserve to come in. We'll get a reserve. We'll get you a reserve.
Your grand champion moderator bull is DCS Forevermore 4F, owned by the Deep Creek Seed Stock, Mitchell, Nebraska. And your reserve goes to TCS Jacks HI 14F, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. We'll take a short picture break, and then we will go into our full-blood divisions. picture break is over, and we'll get back to our bull show here this morning. Ready to start our full blood open show with Class 501 Summer Bull Calves, calved June 1st, 2018 and after. We have one single entry in Class 501.
Single entry August calf. One, I think, is so stout made. It's over his top and down through his stifle. He's really nicely made in his foot and bone size, and he's structurally correct. Gives you a good look from the side. Look forward to seeing this young lady back here in our first calf division championship. Let's give her a nice round of applause for our full-blood bull.
In Class 501, we had JRS Freddie 83F, owned by J.C. Schonenfeld, Oakley, Kansas. Entering the ring now will be Class 502 Summer Bull Calves, and these calves were calved in May of 2018.
A nice class of bull calves to start here. Young lady that starts this class, he's just the best out of his four-rib. He's the most pulled apart. He's the biggest and boldest through the center portion of his body. He's got as much shape in his top all the way through his loin. He handles his rear legs as well as any of the calves out here in this class. He's right in his front shoulder angle. He gets probably just a little bit more chest floor as he comes out up from the bottom of his chest floor up into his jaw, but he gives you a great look, a balance and profile, gets around the ring, moves free and easy. The calf that comes next, I think, is really kind of cool in his look. I love his length and extension. I wish he could get a little squarer and truer on his front, too. He's starting to twist out on his front. When you study him in his hip design, get right on him. He wants to get a little rounder in his hip design, a little bit lower to his pin set. We maybe just get him a little square made right there. He's the youngest by far. He's really about a June calf. He's pretty impressive. You just like to change him and twist him, get him straightened up a little bit more on that front end. I think the calf comes next here. Tremendous performance, so long spine. He gets a little twisted out front, and he just doesn't handle those rear two with as much comfort and ease from his hock to the ground in his pasture. And how you watch him get out there on the move. He has to kind of get into himself a little bit more. He gets a little tighter to his flank and maybe doesn't balance up as nicely as the calves ahead of him. And the calf that concludes the class, for me, just needs to power this one up in muscle shape over his top and to his hip and down through that stifle. Super deep-bodied, really got a lot of depth and spring of rib to him. Just needs quite a bit more muscle shape for me to get up higher in this group.
First in Class 502 is TMR Plan C, owned by Tunk Mountain Ranch, Riverside, Washington. Second was ILC Shelby GT, owned by Idaho Livestock, Hayden, Idaho. Third was Easy Fearless 54F, owned by the Efforts EZ Ranch, Bismarck, North Dakota. And 4 was MMB Farmer, owned by Matthias Maxwell Bender from Lexington, Ohio.
Once again, let's put our hands together, show our appreciation for an outstanding set of calves out here, our breeders and exhibitors. I'll go show you which two I like the best to be our champion in reserve.
Your summer bull calf champion is TMR Plan C, owned by the Tunk Mountain Ranch, Riverside, Washington. And reserve goes to ILC Shelby GT, owned by Idaho Livestock, Hayden, Idaho. Next in the ring will be Class 503, late spring bull calves, and these calves calved in April of 2018.
Real nice calf to start our class. I love it when you're going along and you kind of just been going with really the kind you like, and then you get some cattle come in here and just keep coming to you, the kind you like. This is the kind I like right here. Big rib, stout made, big backed, big ended, good in his feet, big bone, sound, flexible, masculine looking, just a great looking calf, I think, to start this class. Young man that comes next, probably the soundest made one we've seen yet. Just gets out there so free and flexible. The correct set to his hock when you get him on the move. Perfect angle to his shoulder. So long spined and long in his top. Square made. He just needs to be just a shot more muscle to him comparatively to compete with the one that wins this class. But that one is really, really high quality. You surely have to appreciate how sound and flexible and easy he is on the go. We get down to two calves. We'll probably give up just a little bit of performance there, but they still have a long way to go. Really nice made, attractive calf coming here in third. Long and extended. Great in his top line, level to his hip, sound and flexible. Just need to be pulled apart and have just a shot more muscle and volume for me comparatively to the two ahead of him. And the calf that concludes the class, he's really long and extended. Once again, green in his condition. He has just a long way to go yet in his life. He has plenty of time to start making up some ground. He just needs more muscle shape and especially more shape to his pin set and down through his stifle for me. Let's give him a nice round of applause. We'll see him back in our champion lineup.
First in Class 503 is TCS Picture Perfect 20F, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri, and the University of Findlay, Ohio. Second goes to Four Scores Firewalker F42, owned by the Efforts Easy Ranch, Bismarck, North Dakota, and Cody Score from Williston, North Dakota. Third goes to WBL Forester 89F, owned by the West Bayou Ranch, Kiowa, Colorado, and fourth was WBL Fleetwood 80F, also owned by West Bayou Ranch.
Two really nice bulls to start this class. I think they're very, very close. They came in. I thought they were true contenders right the minute they come in the ring. The calf that wins this class, I think he's better made out of his shoulder. I think he's a lot more extended. I think he's better made in terms of length of spine and to his hip. He's sound and flexible. He's good. His foot size. I like how he comes out of the base of his chest floor. He has a lot of power in his forerib and center rib dimension. Just an outstanding bull to start this class. Young lady comes next. I think this one's a real contender. He gets a little lower set in his chest floor, a little plainer, a little more jammed up in his neck as he comes out of his shoulder, but he's tremendous in his forerib shape, soft and soggy old middle in him. He's got some shape in his top. He's not as wide as he comes right out of his shoulder, right through the center portion of his back to his loin compared to that class winner, but he's very sound and flexible. Got him presented exceptionally well. She does a great job getting that one shown. He always looks great out here. The cat that comes next, I think he's powerful in his design. I like how he fits with these others. He's just tight and restricted as he gets off those rear two. He probably progressively gets a little bit narrower to his pins, extremely long-spined and long-sided. I think he gives you a great look. Sure need to free him up just a notch more off those rear two for me to get up higher. Next calf coming out, very green in his condition. The right parts and pieces are here. He's level-topped. He's square-hipped. He just doesn't have the width in his chest floor through his forerib. Probably just doesn't have the performance and muscle shape in him as well. But that one's got a big future because he is ultrasound and gives you a great look from the side. Calf coming next. He just gives up a lot of performance of pounds. He has all the right parts as well. He's got a long way to kind of get there. He's sound and flexible. He just needs a shot more muscle. He's got his advantage over the calf coming next. It's just his flexibility and ease around the ring. The calf coming next is big, long-sided. He's more cylindrical in his body shape. He needs more muscle shape to him. He needs to handle those rear two a little square and a little bit better as far as setting him down truer, more correct. He gets a little bit narrower to his pins for me. We get down to the last two. Not that I discriminate against the reds here. These just probably don't have quite the same eye appeal. Eye appeal coming out of the shoulder. This one's a little sounder, more flexible, has a little more muscle shape. The young man that concludes the class with his other red calf. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. Outstanding set of bull calves.
First place in Class 504 goes to AVR Dominator, owned by Archer Valley Ranch, Priest River, Idaho. Second was UF Shot of Jack, 01F, owned by the University of Findlay, Ohio. Third goes to FCC Johnny Ringo, owned by Fanning Cattle Company, Harrodsburg, Kentucky. Fourth goes to RH Transformer, 1694F, owned by 7C Aberdeen Cattle Company, Stillwater, Oklahoma. Fifth goes to SFR Commander, also owned by 7C Aberdeen Cattle Company. Sixth goes to LFI Genghis Khan, owned by Lillifloren Farms, Hayden, Idaho. Seventh goes to SWR Demo 84F, owned by the Wobeg Ranch, Cody, Nebraska. And eighth was SWR IM Fast Track, also owned by the Wobeg Ranch, Cody, Nebraska.
Just a single entry for this young lady here. And I give you some other stuff as I go along judging. For myself, especially with kids or younger kids, I really, after a while, I really just hate beating on them for a while. Because this young lady here showed a lot of good cattle and with some really tough classes and just had the luck of the draw of being one class or the other. We talked about she had a fourth-place heifer yesterday that was really good. And I think we just kind of got to the point like, okay, just can't quite get to that point. And they're all – so you just – after a while, like, man, I just want him to come out here with a real good one. It's a real nice bull right here. He's a little awkward because he has no tail on the end of there. But he's got more of a pig shape. He's got that pig butt, and he's got a little bit more shape in his top. He's got that big hog back. He's big in his middle. He's wide made, and he is ultrasound. He gives you a great look. So if you just don't envision that missing tail there, he's a true survivor. She said he got away from a coyote, so he's built to last. So let's give her a nice round of applause for our super stout bull calf steer back here in her champion lineup.
In Class 505, was WWW Fernando 82F, owned by Cassie D. Wells, Dodge City, Kansas. Next, we will be selecting our champion and reserve junior bull calf champions.
Outstanding set of bull calves out here. I think the quality is good. I said it earlier yesterday, and I'm probably going to stick to it. I think the full-blood cattle are better than the moderators were as far as a group out here. I think we get out to this first of our division champion. I think we have 3 outstanding bull calves here for selection of our junior champion. Let's give them all a nice round of applause. Excellent type and kind. There's just one for me that is just my kind all the way. I'll go select your champion. We'll get a chance to bring in a second if needed, and we'll pick our reserve.
Your champion is TCS Picture Perfect 20F, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri, and the University of Findlay, Ohio. And your reserve goes to AVR Dominator, owned by Archer Valley Ranch, Priest River, Idaho.
Single entry November bull, once again powerful in his forerib, powerful in his rib shape and design and dimension, big topped and really big loin, got a lot of shape down through his stifle, sound and flexible. Look forward to seeing him back for a selection of our champion. Let's give this young lady a nice round of applause. We send her out of the ring.
In Class 506, we had TCS Image 49E, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. Next in the ring, we will have Class 507, and these will be bulls that were born between September 1st and October 31st, 2017.
Real nice bull to start this next class. Big and stout. He's big-footed and big-boned. He's powerful in his four-rib shape. He's got enough center body dimension to him. He's got some shape in his top, really wide-ended, and gets around with enough flexibility as he gets around the ring. A nice class winner. Young man that comes next here, one that excels in length of spine and length of body. I think the challenge for me is he gets progressively wider as he goes to his shoulder. I need to be a little bit wider pinned, a little squarer in his pin set, especially when you say him in motion. He wants to kind of get down in his pins a little more, get in a little bit narrower made. We just power that one up, especially through his hip and down through his stifle. Then he becomes a real contender in this class. Let's give him a nice round of applause. We'll see him back in our division champion.
In Class 501, first goes to UF Smokin' Jack 37E, owned by the University of Findlay, Ohio. Second was NCS Patriot, owned by Neil Show Cattle, Shelbyville, Missouri.
Couple of really nice bulls to come out here. They're very stout made. They're big bodied and big ribbed. They're flexible on the go. I think the biggest difference is when you get right up on top of them, just the difference in mass and shape in their top and how they carry that to their hip and down through their stifle. And that'll be the difference between the two for champion reserve. Let's show our appreciation one more time. I'll show you which one I think is a champion and which one I think is reserve. Your champion senior bull calf is TCS Image 49E, owned by Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. And your reserve is UF Smokin' Jack 37E, owned by the University of Findlay, Ohio. Next in the ring will be Class 508. These will be summer yearling bulls calved May 1st through August 31st, 2017. This class of summer yearling bulls will also be your division champion and reserve. Just two calves here in this division. And, when they first come in, the calf that's on the far side looks to be the really powerful, stout one. But when you get up on top of him, he kind of gets a little bit narrower made, especially gets to his pins. He's really narrower made and needs more muscle. to him, his pin bones down through his stifle. The calf that has more true shape in his top and his loin and to his hip is a calf that's on this side. He's extremely long-sided, probably a little more cylindrical in his body shape. For me, if I could just make him a little softer centered, but that one is sound and flexible and gives you a great look. Young man close to me will be our champion in this division. Let's give him a nice round of applause. We'll follow with that bull that's really deep-sided and has got some bone size and some foot size. He needs to just handle those rear two a lot more comfortably, get a little bit wider made and wider base to get up any higher in this division. Once again, we'll see them back here in our champion lineup, an outstanding set of calves.
Your champion summer yearling bull was ILC Hondo, owned by Idaho Livestock, Hayden, Idaho. And your reserve was LFL Aberdeen, owned by Logan Litchfield, Boone, Iowa. Next in the ring, we will have Class 509, and these are spring yearling bulls born between March 1st and April 30th, 2017. This class will also be the division.
challenging set of big bulls, and I'm sure that everybody has their own favorite. And we talked about earlier, you've got to use those kind. And when you go back and look at these of the kind you would go out and use and what you're going to use them for. The bull that wins the class, he's the freshest. He's the longest spine. He's the best in his shoulder. He's the best in his foot structure. His front feet and his back feet are perfect in their hoof size. He is easily the soundest and handles his rear legs and front end the best. He moves just like a cat, just cruises around out here. He can get around the ring really free and easy. That one right there is not the stoutest made in his hip and down through his stifle, but he is beautiful in his balance, and he is so ultrasound and flexible on the go. Gives you a great look. From the side view, he probably balances up as nicely as any bull in the class there. I think for me, as you study him and get him out there on the move, he's really the easy class winner. And you get down to two bulls, and I think this bull balances up a little better. He's a little shorter-sided. If I could just stretch him out and make him a little longer-bodied, he kind of gets outside of himself when he walks. He has to kind of get out and swing his legs out wide when he gets out. He will get out there and hit his track. He's beautifully made. I love the power in his forerib, and he's soft-centered, and he's got a big top and really big hip. He just gets a little bit tight and rigid when he gets off those rear two, especially has to get outside himself just a little bit more, get him on the go. The cat that comes next, he's powerful in his forerib, tremendous top shape. He gets a little bit tighter to his flank. He gets a little more upright and stiff in his pasterns when you get him on the move. If he could just sit down and flex and just sit and really relax into those feet on those rear two when he gets on the move, that one is a real contender in my book. He's big-ended. He's very, very flat-shouldered, long and extended, and gives you a nice look. Young lady comes next. I love the look of the front end. He's powerfully made. He's long and extended. He's got a big foot size. He just gets short and tight off those rear two. He can't quite reach out there and get his track. He has plenty of flexibility. He's really soft in his pasterns. He's got enough flexibility there in his hock to the ground as well. He just needs to get a little longer step in stride and maybe balance up just a little bit better and softer into his flank. And the young man that concludes the class just needs a shot more muscle and width and dimension in terms of power and shape for me to get up any higher. Let's give him a nice round of applause and congratulate our winners in that class.
First in Class 509 and also your division champion is FCC SFR Legacy 2E, owned by Fanning Cattle Company, Harrodsburg, Kentucky, and the S-Bar 5 Farms from Wagner, Oklahoma. Second in your reserve is MCR Black Gold, owned by Archer Valley Ranch, Priest River, Idaho. Third was TMR Outrageous, owned by the Tunk Mountain Ranch, Riverside, Washington. Fourth was UF Game Day 07E, owned by the University of Findlay, Ohio. And fifth was NXS Jax Wild 7E3, owned by Caleb Y, Summit, South Dakota.
Just a single entry bull here in this next class. He's sound and flexible and got enough body shape and rib shape to him. He's good in his muscle shape. Look forward to seeing her back in our champion lineup. Let's give this young lady a nice round of applause for outstanding single entry.
In Class 511 was SFR Stealth, owned by Sunflower Ranch, Rama, Colorado. Next in the ring will be our Class 512, will be our 2-year-old bulls, calved January 1st through June 30th of 2016.
Nice set of big bulls here. A young man that's going to lead this class. I think he probably is just a fresher condition one. I think he's got as much muscle shape in his top, and he probably handles his feet and legs as well as any of the bulls out here. He's probably easiest moving. I still like to change him as he gets off those rear two, a little bit more upright in terms of his pastern and gets a little bit tighter in his movement. But a calf that still looks good in terms of his length of body and really looks balanced out here. Look forward to seeing him back in our lineup. Young lady comes next. This one wants to get a little too straight in his front shoulder angle. He needs to be a little bit set back in a shoulder angle. He needs to be a little bit looser as he gets off those rear two as well. A little tight and restricted when he gets on the move. Maybe a little bit deeper in his chest forward from a balance perspective. Young lady's calf that comes next. He is big and wide, stout made. He just gets too upright in his pasterns, way too outside of himself when he gets on the move. Needs to handle those with more flexibility, ease, and cushion when he gets on the stride.
First in Class 512 was AVR Sippin' Sangria, owned by Justin Hinkle, Manzanola, Colorado. Second was CRH Longshot, owned by Cooper's Royal Heritage Farm, Windham, Maine. Third was WWW Doggy 11D, owned by Cassie D. Wells, Dodge City, Kansas.
All right, a really nice set of bulls here in our big bull division. There's three. There's a single entry from our first class, and then there's two others from our older class there. Real outstanding set of cattle. I think the quality is there. Look forward to seeing them in our champion lineup. I'll go show you which ones I think are the two best for our division. Let's give them a nice round of applause, our exhibitors and breeders.
Your champion senior bull goes to AVR Sippin' Sangria, owned by Justin Hinkle, Manzanola, Colorado. And your reserve was SFR Stealth, owned by the Sunflower Ranch, Rama, Colorado.
Once again, help me show our appreciation for all these cattle out here, the bulls in the Full Blood Show. I think outstanding set of calves, all the way up to our oldest bulls here are over 2-year-old bulls. I think the right kind that you can go and sell into a commercial operation, sell to other seed stock producers, is going to provide an awful lot of value. Thoroughly impressed with the quality. I can tell you that I'm completely blown away from what my perception was before I came to evaluate these, and when I take off and leave out of here thinking about what these cattle are. And he's asked me several times, what do I think of them? And I think that just the functionality of these cattle and their type and their kind and what you're doing, I think you're on the right path. I think these cattle are outstanding. There's some differences here, and maybe people have, like I said, where you would maybe use some as you go. You study all these cattle out here as well. They've got a lot of good to them. There's a lot of places a lot of these cattle, bulls and females, can be used to improve and to develop your herd and develop the breed as well. I think an outstanding set of cattle out here. There's one for me. He's just in another solar system. He's in another planetary environment compared to all the rest of them out here. I think it's really, really good. Let's give him a nice round of applause, and we'll go select your champion.
Your grand champion full-blood bull is TCS Picture Perfect 20F, owned by the Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri, and the University of Findlay, Findlay, Ohio. The grand champion full-blood bull has been sponsored today by Lime Kiln Farm from Delmer, New York. And your reserve champion goes to AVR Dominator, owned by Archer Valley Ranch, Priest River, Idaho.
Okay, we come back out for the selection of our Supreme of our percentage show out here. Impressive. Totally impressive. The cow-calf pair, so impressive in her kind, perfect uddered, big ribbed and big topped, and a beautiful calf right here on her side. She's doing an outstanding job. That female is outstanding in her kind. The champion female we picked yesterday, that one's impressive in her rib shape and her femininity, her structural soundness and her correctness. She's great in her top line. She gives you a great look, and she's so long and extended from her shoulder forward. And then the bull calf we used out there, I think he's so powerful in his rib shape. He's sound and flexible, gives you a great look, so easy on the go. I think it's really tough decision when you get back out here. You kind of got to get back off, take a little better look from a bigger picture perspective. And I think for me, it just comes back to say, okay, which one of these is the most unique for what they are in this breed or what they are for their division as well. Let's put our hands together one more time. It's been a privilege to judge the cattle. I'll go select your Supreme Champion.
Your Supreme Champion moderator is TCS Miss A 1D 1F, owned by the Tillman's Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri.
All right, once again, a great set of cattle here, a selection of our full-blood champion. Let's show our appreciation for these exhibitors out here. Outstanding set of females. This cow-calf pair that comes out, I think just a first-calf heifer, she's going to have a huge future. That one's going to be a real changer in terms of the kind she makes. She's so flat-shouldered. She's so good out of her forerib. She's very symmetrical. She's dead level in her top line. She's perfect in her udder design. She's got a nice little bull calf right here on her side. That female's a real contender out here for a selection of our champion in this division. Then we have our full-blood female champion. She's perfect in her shoulder shape. She's perfect right as she comes out of her forerib, and she's got the extra turn to her rib. She's long and extended. She gives you a great look from the side. She's good in her bone size. She's very sound and flexible on the go. Then we have the bull calf that just won just right in front of us recently here. That one is just, I just call him, when you start to see cattle enough and you start to look at him, he's so unique, especially for all the cattle we've seen here in this bunch. He's a little bit smaller. I call him a little bit of a pumpkin head out there, but that one right there is so good as he comes out of the top of his shoulder all the way into his hip. Tremendous turn to his rib. He's so soft and soft-centered already. He's got a little advantage of bone size and foot size, the extra turn to his rib and softness into his flank, and yet he gets around the ring. He's starting to get tired now and fight the halter, so he's setting back just a little bit more. But he's so square and true. I think there's a big future ahead of that one as well. I'll go take one more look once again. The cattle are tired and the exhibitors are tired. Let's give them a nice round of applause. We'll go select our supreme champion.
Your supreme champion, Aberdeen, is TCS Picture Perfect 20F, owned by the Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri, and the University of Findlay, Ohio. Your Get a Sire goes to Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. The sire of these three right here was Mr. Jack 5A. Second also goes to Tummins Cattle Company, and those were sired by Mr. Jack 1D. Third went to EZ Ranch, and those were all sired by All Jacked Up. Fourth goes to the Siegel Sunset Ranch in Gary Gilbert, and those were sired by Mercy Me. And fifth out here in the ring also goes to Efforts EZ Ranch, and they were sired by EZ Dynamite. Let's give these guys a round of applause. It takes a lot of work to put this whole thing together, and you got some tremendous, tremendous cattle out there. First place in our Produce a Dam goes to Tummins Cattle Company, Gallatin, Missouri. These animals are both out of B&B Patience. Second goes to Deep Creek Seed Stock, and those were out of EZ Sizzle. Third goes to Archer Valley, and those were out of Merlot. And fourth goes to Siegel Sunset Ranch, and those were both out of Erica 13W. Your first place in the best 6 head goes to the Tummins Cattle Company in Gallatin, Missouri. Second goes to Effort's Easy Ranch. And ladies and gentlemen, one more round of applause, because I think that concludes the 2019 American Aberdeen shows here at the National Western.